2022. 3 years ago this Wednesday. It started out as a normal, beautiful Saturday for everyone you're going to hear from today. It ended by drastically changing countless lives. Jennifer Chavis, a U.S. Army veteran, a deputy constable, a mother, a sister, a daughter, got up and prepared to go on her regular Saturday shift as a Precinct 7 deputy constable assigned to the toll road. She did everything she does normally. Took a shower, she got dressed, she put on her uniform, she put on her microphone, she put on her gun belt. She kissed her beautiful baby 4-year-old goodbye and left to go protect all of us. Brett Hunter, normal Saturday, he and his girlfriend were getting ready to go to his 3-year-old nephew's birthday party. Just gonna hang out with friends and family and spend the day. This defendant, Adolfo Serrano, spent his afternoon at Moments, a strip club in Pasadena, where he paid for the VIP room and had drink after drink after drink. A little before 4 o'clock, Jennifer was already on shift. She was helping motorists that were stranded. She was stopping speeders. She was looking for DWIs. She was doing the things that she does every single shift to keep us safe. A little before 4 o'clock, Brett Hunter was watching his nephew blow out the 3 candles on his cake, hugging everyone, saying goodbye. Adolfo Serrano was closing out his tab, having his last drink. And this is where the choices that linked them all together began. Because then Adolfo Serrano walked out of that strip club a little before 4 o'clock in the afternoon and chose to get into a truck that didn't belong to him, that belonged to his employer. A truck that is so big, a Ford F-550, that it requires a commercial driver's license to drive. A truck that weighs 14,200 pounds. He chose to get in that car and start it and begin to drive. He got on the Beltway heading west. Brett Hunter and his girlfriend hugged everyone, got in their own car, and started to drive west, getting onto the tollway as well. Brett Hunter, as you're going to hear and see, has a dash cam on the front of his car. It gets the perspective that he has. It also records audio. You're going to hear how normal this Saturday was for them. He and his girlfriend are talking as couples do just while they're driving. And as he gets onto the tollway, almost immediately you're going to see that their attention is grabbed by a giant white Ford F-550 in front of them. They begin talking about it. Because this truck is being operated so erratically that it can't stay in a single lane. It can't even stay in 2 lanes. They get behind it. And we're talking about Houston traffic here. Brett Hunter was so concerned that he decided he had to call 911 to report this car. You're going to hear that 911 call. You're going to hear Brett narrate over and over. Every time he can't stay in the same lane. Every time a different car has to move out of the way to not get struck by this monster car. They go well over 20 miles with Brett Hunter giving every exit, every on-ramp to the dispatcher. Somewhere in that, you hear Brett tell the dispatcher that he has crashed into the side of the wall. You're going to see that as well. That triggers a different response from law enforcement. Now they believe there's a crash. And you're going to hear numerous agencies trying to triangulate to get there, to get this person off the road. You're going to hear one of the last statements that Jennifer Chavis ever makes. When she tells all the rest of the officers she is going to sit at the on-ramp of Fondren and the tollway and wait for this potential DWI to pass her so that she can stop him before the worst happens. We are all going to watch as instead of that, this defendant drifts 3 lanes over before that on-ramp, almost striking 2 other vehicles, overcorrects, and as if he's targeted, drives directly into the back of Jennifer Chavis's marked Tahoe and slams into it at 70 miles an hour, 14,200 pounds. It is a violent collision. And you're going to watch it. And you're all going to pray that it took her life immediately. But then you're going to hear from the medical examiner. And they're going to have to tell you, when they perform the autopsy, there was soot in her lungs. You're going to watch that Tahoe be engulfed in flames, and you're all going to have to know that Jennifer Chavis burned alive. You're going to hear from a number of people starting today. They're going to tell you about Jennifer. They've worked with Jennifer. One of them is Josue Molina. He's a tow truck driver. He's going to tell you he's had countless interactions with Jennifer over the years. He's going to tell you how kind she is. He's going to tell you how professional she was with everyone she came into contact with, civilians, tow truck drivers, other law enforcement. And he's going to tell you that because he was on the radio following this, he knew that it was likely Jennifer in that car. He's going to talk about how he got up there with a small fire extinguisher and did everything he could. But by the time he got to the car, he couldn't even see her face. He could tell it was a person, but he couldn't see her face because of the smoke and the flames that were eating her. And instead of watching his friend burn to death, he turned his attention to the car that cost him. And he's going to tell you that he saw this man getting out of the driver's seat of that massive Ford F-550, going around the front and trying to climb over the barrier. And Josue is going to tell you that he interpreted that as this person trying to flee from that crash. So he went over there and he detained him until Officer Price was able to put him into custody. During those minutes, Josue is going to talk to you about the things he noticed. The red, bloodshot eyes, the slurred speech, the fact that he was so unsteady on his feet that Josue could keep him seated with one hand. and the incredibly strong odor of alcohol that was coming from it. Now, a lot of those observations, you're not going to need to rely on just Josue or any of the other people that came into contact with him, because there are going to be numerous body cameras and dash cameras that you're going to get to see yourself. You're going to get to see the disoriented look, the unstable walking, the red bloodshot eyes, and especially the slurred speech. You're going to get to see that firsthand. You're also going to hear from Sergeant Niger from the Harris County Sheriff's Department, who's an expert in determining whether someone's intoxicated. He's going to talk to you about his interaction and investigation of this defendant when he got to the hospital. And he's going to give you in his expert opinion that this defendant was intoxicated. Then you're going to hear from Deputy Ben Troyer, who's a crash reconstruction expert. He's also a drug recognition expert. He's going to tell you all of the steps he took to reconstruct this crash, about all of the formulas he puts in to figure out exactly how fast someone was traveling. And he's going to tell you his expert opinion about who caused this crash. He's going to tell you that in his expert opinion, Adolfo Serrano is the sole cause of this crash. And further, he is going to tell you that the reason that Adolfo caused this crash is because of his intoxication. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this part of the trial, we will stand back up here and ask you to find this defendant guilty of taking Jennifer Chavis's life while she was performing an official act, and finding him guilty of intoxication manslaughter of a peace officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Does the defense wish to make an opening statement this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We're going to reserve.
Thank you. State, call your first.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Brett Hunter to the stand.
Brett Hunter. All right, thank you. Good morning, sir. Can you test your mic and see if it's working?
Yes. Testing.
Perfect. Thank you. State.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and introduce yourself to the jury?
How you doing? I'm Brett Hunter.
And Mr. Hunter, what county do you currently reside in?
Montgomery.
Have you always been in Montgomery County?
No.
Where were you before that?
Harris County.
And
Cypress, Texas.
Say that again?
Cypress.
Cypress, okay. And Mr. Hunter, what do you do for a living?
Sales, territory sales for manufacturing, automation, and robotics.
And on April the 2nd of 2022, were you still residing in Harris County at that time?
Yes.
And where were you earlier in the day on April the 2nd of 2022?
I was at my nephew's birthday. He was turning 3 down in Hitchcock.